Imagine a time when the stars were not just dots in the night sky but destinations waiting to be reached. Picture the mid-20th century, when the world was gripped by the icy tension of the Cold War. This was a chess game of power and influence, and the board was the entire globe. In this era, two superpowers, the United States and the Soviet Union, emerged as the main competitors in a new kind of contest: the space race. A race not for land or wealth, but for the stars themselves. The space race was born out of a desire for scientific exploration, yes, but also for dominance, for the prestige of being the first to conquer the final frontier. The Soviets drew the first blood. In 1957, they launched Sputnik, the first artificial satellite to orbit the Earth. The world watched in awe and fear as this tiny metal sphere beeped its way across the night sky. It was a clear statement: the Soviets had taken the lead. But the United States was not far behind. 4 years later, in 1961, they established the National Aeronautics and Space Administration, or NASA, a testament to their commitment to win this celestial race. This was more than just a response to Sputnik. It was a statement of intent, a promise to reach for the stars. Then came another Soviet victory. Yuri Gagarin, a name now synonymous with space exploration, became the first human to orbit the Earth. The world was captivated, the stakes were raised, and the United States knew they had to respond. And respond, they did. In 1961, President John F. Kennedy announced the Apollo program. An ambitious endeavor, its goal was nothing less than to land a man on the moon and return him safely to Earth. A dream so audacious, it seemed almost impossible. And so, the stage was set for one of humanity's greatest adventures, the Apollo 11 mission. July 16, 1969, a day etched in history. 3 men, Armstrong, Aldrin and Collins, embarked on a journey of a lifetime. A behemoth of American engineering prowess, the Saturn V rocket stood tall on the launch pad at Kennedy Space Center. Its engines roared to life, propelling the spacecraft and its crew toward the moon. This was not just a journey of 238,855 miles, it was a voyage of human ambition, curiosity, and courage. The path to the moon was a meticulously planned trajectory, an invisible highway in the cosmos. It was a route that required the utmost precision to follow. The smallest miscalculation could mean the difference between lunar landing and lost in space. The journey was a 4-day odyssey, where the Earth gradually shrank behind them while the moon loomed larger ahead. In the cold void of space, the Apollo 11 spacecraft journeyed on. Inside, the astronauts carried out their duties, monitored their course, and prepared for the lunar descent. The teamwork between these 3 men and the ground control back on Earth was a symphony of determination and precision. And then, a critical moment arrived. The lunar module, affectionately named the Eagle, separated from the command module. Collins remained in the command module, orbiting the moon, while Armstrong and Aldrin descended towards the lunar surface in the Eagle. The stage was set. The moon, that celestial body humans had looked up at for thousands of years, was about to receive its first earthly visitors. The journey to the moon was not just a technological marvel, it was a testament to the human spirit. It was proof that when we dare to dream big and work together, we can achieve the seemingly impossible. Each stage of the voyage required precision, bravery, and unwavering teamwork, from the launch on Earth to the separation of the Eagle. With the world watching, the Eagle was poised to make its descent onto the lunar surface. Humanity held its breath as the Eagle began its descent. In the cold vacuum of space, more than 200,000 miles from home, a tiny speck of human ingenuity began its descent towards the lunar surface. It was the lunar module of Apollo 11, affectionately named Eagle. Astronauts Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin, the chosen sons of planet Earth, were at the helm, their hearts beating in sync with the pulse of a watching world. As Eagle's spidery legs reached out for the lunar surface, the tension was palpable. Armstrong, the mission commander, took manual control of the landing. The original landing site was too rocky, too dangerous. His eyes scanned the alien landscape for a safer spot, while his fingers danced over the controls. His calm voice crackled over the radio, a beacon of resolve in the void. Then came the words that signaled the climax of a decade-long journey. Armstrong's voice, steady as ever, relayed the message back to Earth. "Houston, Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed." The world exhaled in unison. The impossible had been made possible. A human-made vessel had successfully landed on the moon. But the most iconic moment was still to come. As the dust settled around Eagle, Armstrong descended the ladder. He paused at the bottom, a solitary figure against the backdrop of the desolate lunar landscape. With millions watching via television back home, he placed his foot onto the extraterrestrial soil, the first human footprint on the moon. His words, forever etched in history, echoed across the silent expanse. "That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind." The statement was profound, capturing the magnitude of the achievement. It wasn't just a step for Armstrong or for the United States, it was a step for all of humanity. In that moment, Neil Armstrong made one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind. On the barren, alien landscape of the moon, Armstrong and Aldrin had a mission to complete. This was no ordinary mission though, it was a mission of discovery, of exploration, and of making history. In the heart of the Sea of Tranquility, under the watchful gaze of a billion eyes back on Earth, the two astronauts set about their tasks. Armstrong, with his iconic slow-motion bounce, was the first to plant the American flag. There it stood, a symbol of human achievement, fluttering in the moon's thin atmosphere, forever imprinted in our collective memory. But there was more to this mission than symbolic gestures. The astronauts were also tasked with collecting lunar samples. Armed with specially designed tools, they painstakingly collected rocks and dust, the physical evidence of their extraordinary journey. These samples, carefully preserved, would later offer scientists back on Earth unprecedented insights into the moon's geology and the history of our solar system. Their lunar exploration didn't stop there. They conducted experiments too. One of these was the deployment of a passive seismic experiment package, designed to measure moonquakes and provide data on the interior structure of the moon. They also set up a laser-ranging retroreflector, an instrument that reflects laser beams, allowing scientists back home to measure the exact distance between the Earth and the moon. In between these activities, Armstrong and Aldrin found time to communicate with Earth, sharing their experiences and observations with an eager and expectant world. Their voices, crackling over the radio, and the grainy black and white images they sent back, gave us all a front-row seat to this momentous event. Their lunar excursion, however, was brief. Every minute was diligently planned and executed, for they had a narrow window of opportunity. The lunar module, their lifeline, awaited them. After 21.5 hours on the lunar surface, it was time to begin the journey home. Leaving the moon behind, the Apollo 11 crew set course for home. Their hearts were filled with a sense of accomplishment, and their minds buzzing with the extraordinary experiences they just had. As they journeyed back through the vast expanse of space, the world was eagerly awaiting their return. After traveling hundreds of thousands of miles, the Apollo 11 command module, Columbia, re-entered Earth's atmosphere on July 24, 1969. The spacecraft, carrying Neil Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin, and Michael Collins, splashed down safely in the Pacific Ocean. The world heaved a collective sigh of relief and erupted in joyous celebration. This successful return journey marked the end of an epic voyage that had captivated the globe. From the streets of New York to the remote villages of Africa, people had been glued to their radios and television sets, sharing in the suspense, the excitement, and finally the triumph. The Apollo 11 mission had united humanity in a shared accomplishment, transcending boundaries and differences. Apollo 11's impact was far-reaching. It advanced our scientific understanding of the moon, collecting invaluable data and samples that scientists would study for years. This mission laid the foundation for future lunar exploration and sparked a renewed interest in space and science among the young and the old alike. But perhaps most significantly, Apollo 11 inspired a generation. It showed us that even the seemingly impossible can be achieved with determination, ingenuity, and teamwork. It reminded us that we are part of a larger universe, igniting our curiosity and our desire to explore. Apollo 11 also served as a symbol of unity and peace during a time of global tension. It reminded us that as inhabitants of this shared planet, we are capable of achieving great things when we work together. Apollo 11, a mission that changed the world, reminding us that in the pursuit of knowledge and exploration, the sky is not the limit, but just the beginning.